men's basketball. They've been very busy, Luke. 2026s have been are now allowed to be contacted by colleges, and men's basketball has made quite the moves. They've offered forward the on threes number 85 prospect overall, Cody Peck, Bryce Dixon, a 4-star on Rivals. They offered him. They offered Chris Powell, a guard, a 4-star industry rank. They've been interested in Shane Pendergrass and Joe Phelan the third, a wing, a top 75 wing. They've been interested in. Then they offered Jacob Williford back in January. Another interesting name that popped up. You've seen him, Luke Austin Brown from Lufkin High School, who has been getting a lot of interest from all sorts of teams. Brown's been contacted by Oklahoma State, Creighton. He was offered by Texas A&M. Rice was looking at him. Iowa, TCU offered him. Columbia, South Dakota, Oral Roberts, Harvard, Notre Dame, Vanderbilt, Penn, like crazy stuff. He got offered by SFA and TCU as well. So, Luke, men's basketball has been very busy when it comes to this 2026 class. They're not messing around. I mean, they're going after some of the big dogs that they feel like they can compete with the power conferences when it comes to these sort of players.
Yeah, part of that, of course, is Coach Mudge, right? And this guy was on the recruiting trail for years and years and years there under Coach Hooten, all at Sam Houston, when he was in the D2, when he was at Texas as the grad assistant. He knows what it takes to get these big time recruits, and he knows what he's looking for, right, in players. Um, Excited to see all these players. Of course, we're not going to get all of them, right? But I mean, if you can get three of them, I'd say that's a tremendous success, if not just two, right? Uh, Bryce Dixon, he's a really good player. He's up from Dallas, and you talked about Austin Brown. He's from Lufkin. He was playing against Huntsville a few times. I saw him three times. One game he didn't play. I don't know if he was injured or they just rest or something like that. Um, Lufkin always had a really good team. They were long, athletic. They went to a couple of regional. I think they went to a regional finals and a semi in the last 2 years. So they were a really good team. And he was one of the catalysts for their team. He was a long, rangy. He was their center, but he was 6'5", or he wasn't 6'8". I
Eight.
think he was 6'8". Yeah, 6'8". And he plays out in the wing. He kind of reminds me a little bit of a Hoofner, where he can post you up and hit with you a post fade, a little bit of a hook, but he can also spot up from deep. Good shooter, good athlete. Defense, right, is going to be is the more the issue for him. And lateral quickness, so kind of like Hoofner. Uh, but that being said, it's class 2026, right? So who doesn't say he doesn't get way better this year?
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, with NIL and all sorts of things, maybe the needs for Bearcats men's basketball changes after 2025 season, after the 2024-25 season. But for the names that I have been looking at and some of the stuff and clips that whatever's available on Twitter that I've seen, they got they seem to be know where they're looking for, and it also assistant coach Anthony Fobb has also been doing a lot of these recruiting. Brendan Foley and Jake White, like, I mean, we talked about it before, Luke. The the coaching staff that Mudge surrounded him with, alongside his newly associate head coach Justin Bailey,
Justin
like
Bailey. Yep.
Mudge really surrounded himself with good people.
That's right. And you talk about the class that's coming in this year. Dorian Finister, who we think is probably going to help run the point. He's a long 6'4", as a guard. And they made a huge emphasis this year, right, in getting bigger. Right. In previous years, where we only have really one, big man, or maybe two, but one plays. He goes out and gets DeAnthony Gordon. He's from Little Rock, I want to say. Arkansas Little Rock. Sheik and Day. probably butchered that name, but he's another 6'9" guy. Jackson Ford has already signed his letter of intent. He's 6'7", right? So there's a definite track of what they want to do, and it's get longer, range, stretching the floor. It really sounds and looks like that's kind of the direction we're heading, which is fun, right? It's different than we've been used to the past few years, with just a lead guard and a good surrounding cast. Maybe it's just a different look that we throw out to the Conference USA in this next few years.
Yeah, and they also grabbed a lot of athleticism in this past signing period and portal cycles, and in Conference USA, it showed that they needed that athleticism really badly, because this is group of five play, still mid-major basketball, but this is group of five play where you have some good programs where you're competing against in Louisiana Tech, UTEP, Liberty. And I mean, I know they were not too good last year, but New Mexico State is trying to find a way to get back into what they used to be, what they were back in the Western Athletic Conference with Sam Houston. But right now, Sam Houston really, like I said, focused on athleticism. But Luke, something that I liked, they got a lot more depth in this upcoming season.
That's right. Yeah, and of course in basketball, down the stretch, you're really running. Really good teams are usually running around an 8-man rotation, maybe 8. Some of the power programs run 6 or 7, right? And some run, a whole bench deep, running 8, 9 deep. Usually it's about 7. If we could get somewhere like that, that'd be really good. I mean, we've had some really good teams in the past, and last year, man, it was heartbreaking. We just fell short there in the tournament, but you feel like, this program, it's on its way up. It's climbing up. You just no telling where this thing could go. I mean, we know this whole coaching staff, Coach Mudge, everyone, right? Coach Bailey, we got a really good bench right there, and coaching these guys. It's just a matter, really, of putting all these past years, right, and just slips in the playoff, right, or in the tournament, putting it together and finally getting that automatic bid. And this is also a league, right? Conference USA. That could be a 2-bid league, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you look
and
at some of these brands, like a New Mexico State, like a Liberty, maybe like a Sam Houston. Two teams have a really good year. You're looking maybe at a 2-bid league.
I mean, Sam Houston does have the non-conference schedule to do it. If they do well, they could potentially have their net ranking high enough heading into conference play where they may not have to win the conference tournament. But of course, you rather just be safer than sorry and have that auto bid right under your belt. Some scheduling news, they are going to face the Nevada Wolfpack once again. They did back in 2022. It got scheduled again. They got scheduled with them again this year.